Welcome to this week's episode of Framing a Wall in an old Philadelphia row home during a heat wave. Quick temperature check. It's 96 degrees with an excessive heat warning and it feels like 103. Fun stuff. I'm sweating already. I haven't even started working. Bothering the electrician to try to get him here. But before he comes, we have a couple more walls to frame out. Work slow, drink a lot of water, and see what we can get done today. Battery troubles. Right about there. Locked in. All right, to make sure this whole wall is plumb, you can use this laser sighted all the way along the bottom plate. Transfer that up to the top plate, then all the studs in between should be plumb as well. Looking good, looking good. It's hard because my hand blocks the laser. Yeah. My batteries are actually starting to overheat. I am too. Whew, I'm dripping sweat. Dripping. Oh, yeah. All right, bottom plate installed, top plate installed. Now we just gotta fill it with studs, the easy part. So real quick, the reason for this wall is I need a chase for electrical. Also, this is exterior, so I want to add some insulation. And I'm framing it 24 inch on center because I can. The process of putting in these studs can become quite repetitive in the heat. First, measure 24 inches from the last stud. Move the ladder. Measure the stud height. Sweat through your pants. Choose a stud. This one sucks. Choose a better one. Measure the stud. Mark the stud. Mark the stud again so you don't lose your mark. Cut the stud. You've been working so hard, you deserve a little break. Get yourself some lukewarm water. Try not to get heat stroke, but don't get used to it. Get the stud in place. Move the ladder. Wipe the sweat out of your eyes so you can see while you operate dangerous construction tools. Nail the stud. Make sure the stud is plumb. More nails. Filming all those steps made it twice as hard, but there's something about the heat that's kind of inspiring creatively because I'm too tired to work really fast, and in some way moving the camera and setting up shots means that I don't have to work as hard. So that's cool. It's gonna be a long week. All right, pretty much done. I think eventually I need to add blocks up in the joist bays as well because the drywall is gonna go all the way up there. But for now, we can start thinking about this wall, which is a bit challenging because the kitchen layout, to get it all to fit, it actually comes past, I don't know, maybe a foot out from this brick. But I need to find that exact distance to frame this wall here, and then I'm gonna need to have the HVAC guys extend that duct there. And then I'm gonna have a little closet here, a little coat closet, very small. And to start getting these measurements, I need to move all this material. Yeah, materials are just always in the way. We got the kitchen laid out. I've been doing a lot of thinking here. So this is where the end of the cabinet is. For a little bit, I was thinking of framing a wall outside of that cabinet, which, I don't know, just to put a light switch in it, but to take up 4 inches for that doesn't really seem worth it. And then as I began to start thinking about framing this, that line, when you go up, is right in the middle of this joist bay, which would be challenging because all these old joists are going to be exposed up here. So I think what I realized is I might as well bring this bump out to the inside of that joist and all the way down, which makes the wall land about here. So again, we have significant distance from our register here, so we'll have to resolve that. So yeah, we're going to start framing up the wall right about there. All right, it's 5:30. I only framed like one wall, but given the circumstances, I think that's fine. Dripping wet, and I'm ready to get out of here. there's some things I have to modify. Let me show you around real quick. In general, I'm just a little confused about how to frame this, given that I want these cabinet doors to the left and to the right. And I think just putting studs in here, I'm gonna need things to secure other things too. So I think it's fine. Like sometimes with cabinets, I guess if I wanted, instead of plastering the back, if I wanted those to be cabinet boxes, I could build the cabinet and then just like put it in place and drywall around that. But I don't know. I mean, also maybe I'll just drywall this for now to get it over with, and then, you know, down the road get into some cabinet making and figure it out then. But for now, it's along the right track, but there are a lot of pitfalls in framing. Let me show you one. So this isn't quite square between these two walls, so I had to decide, do I want that square or that square? I decided to make that square because that's where a cabinet's coming and then another cabinet's gonna be, so like casework probably should be more square. That edge doesn't matter as much. I squared this up. The problem is the base plate here and the top, which essentially is the inside of this joist, are not squared. And I just trusted it and put the top of this stud aligned with that joist, and now it's all out of whack. It actually needs to go over that way. So I'm gonna need to notch the top of that and then scoot it in and cut out all the nails I just put in it, but that's a project for tomorrow. It's a new day, and now I gotta fix what I did yesterday. Had a chance to sleep on it, and this is like kind of just the reality of construction, you know, kind of deciding where you want imperfections to show. So like I said, this stud needs to come out at the top, and I could change the base plate and move that in a little bit, which would be relatively easy, and then this top condition stays the same and all would be right with the world, except we're gonna have a cabinet coming out here that ends right there. Big old 30-inch pantry cabinet with the doors on that side. And that's gonna obviously be a square box. So if I had a square box with a square edge, that would mean if I move the inside of this wall in, it would be square. And then once the cabinet turns into this wall, it wouldn't be square anymore, and this would be like a faceted wall ever so slightly. And I feel like that would be really bad, especially because I think I want to carry this casework around. So whatever cabinet front I use there, I'm gonna wrap the corner and have cabinets here. So that doesn't seem like an option. So instead I'm gonna deal with the top plate, and the downside is you're gonna actually read the out of squareness because this top plate's gonna move that way, this end going that way. And it'll look a little wonky on that joist, you know? I'll just have to live with it. Now the question, how do we fix it? Well, to start, this top plate, we gotta cut this out, drop it down a little. And adding this back in a little lower will just help kind of hold the stud, something like that. Back to the Sawzall. And you can definitely see what I'm talking about. How you can kind of see the out of squareness of the joist now. It should be around about there. Through this heat wave, I've been thinking a lot about water because I'm drinking gallons of it on the job site. And it's made me think of something that happened 2 years ago in Philadelphia, where a manufacturing plant accidentally leaked dangerous chemicals into the water supply of Philadelphia. It was a crazy time, and I was living here in Philly when this all went down, and it really made me skeptical of drinking the sink water here in Philadelphia. And that's why I'm excited to talk about today's sponsor. Cove Pure. It's a little dark over here. Let me just show you this. let me just show you this machine. Beautiful machine. Okay, I'm sure you got the gist of my segue there. This machine is about water, and my suspicions about the Philly sink water being maybe not great to drink, especially after a bunch of toxic chemicals were spilled in it, is unfortunately correct. A couple stats for you. 1.1 million Americans get sick from germs in their tap water, and 70 million Americans have PFAs in their tap water, which is like forever chemicals that stay in your body forever and as you could guess, aren't great for you. But that's where Cove Pure can help, because it eliminates up to 99.9% of harmful contaminants. I'm really excited about this machine for the new house because I plan to put it up in my 3rd floor studio. Considering I spend most of my time at my desk in my office, it's going to be really convenient to have a machine like this, to have cold filtered water right where I'm working. Plus, of course, the added benefit of being able to make myself tea while I work. I'm really excited that Cove Pure is offering a $200 discount to anyone who uses my link, covepure.com/Chris Heitha. Thanks again to Cove Pure for sponsoring this week's episode. Did a little framing off camera. It went okay. Where's the hammer? I literally just had it over here. If I were a hammer, where would I be? I didn't leave this room. So I just built a little box down here because I know the base of whatever cabinet is going to be here is going to be around there because we have the HVAC down there. And generally I just tried to get in some lumber where I know I need it. Like here, eventually we're going to box this in, which I think I'd probably do kind of more like cabinetry making, doing like a 3/4 plywood and screw the side and like make a box out of plywood and then fasten that to the side of this. Box all this in with minimal wasted space. We're gonna move on to another framing job here. With the kitchen design, I went back and forth for a while of having open shelves here versus enclosed shelves. And I think I've landed on closed off shelves because there's not a lot of storage, and having shelving here or upper cabinets is going to be, I'm probably not going to regret that. And also just aesthetically, having the upper cabinets and then also doing a soffit here that comes out 2 foot over the countertop and wraps around, I just think aesthetically looks kind of nice. So this soffit isn't actually even required. I'm going to have some lights in here that I'm going to center over the cabinets. But for now, I got to just frame 2x4 soffit here, and to make sure I don't collide with the lumber when I'm placing my lights, I'm just going to frame the 2x4s that way. Can we do it alone? That is always the question. Oh, it's too hot for this. It's too hot for this. I think the answer is no. At least not with this strategy. Maybe. Oh. All right. Now I think the answer is yes. Okay. All right, that's enough to hold it. It's about time we got rid of this nest of wires, which should have been gone months ago. I shut off the power, so we should be able to just start cutting here. The old knob and tube. Oh, what a mess. Oh yeah. Another framing task for this first floor. We need to reframe a door to the basement. Let's see how fast we can knock this out. All right, we didn't knock it out quick. I'm still pretty new at this, I'm learning. And this is about an hour and a half condensed into, I don't know, 20 seconds. And you can see that I still haven't really got much visible progress done. We're getting there, and it just takes me a lot of thinking to make sure I'm doing things right and getting things square and plumb, and yeah, it takes time. Unfortunately, out of nowhere, my like $400 nail gun just stopped working. just doesn't shoot nails and makes a loud clicking noise. So I think I have to take this to be serviced, and it'll be out of commission for like at least 7 to 10 days. So that'll slow me down, but I'm sure there are plenty of other things to do besides framing. Gonna have to call it a day early. Good morning, it's Friday, and there's a whole lot to do. For one, I have a guy coming to give me a quote for concrete for the drain in the alley, regrading some of the backyard. This is something that I should have done a long time ago because it's a big contributor to the water problem in the basement. On top of that, I have a bit of a list of what I need to do before we can get the electrician in, and he said he wants to have it all ready and have a big crew come and get it done in a couple days. So I need to make sure all the framing is ready for them. So yesterday we started framing this door, but this really isn't critical because no electrical is going in here. What is critical is just a little bit of framing here. We need a stud coming down kind of in line with this face here, and that is going to hold some a lot of switches and thermostat, and needs to be in. Of course, we finished all this. That's really important. I think there's going to be switches there and outlets and electrical in there. Next big thing, I want to put 2x3s on the sides of each of these joists, all the way tight against the wood subfloor. For a while, I wanted to just keep the underside of this floor visible, but in reality, for one, there are some cracks in this floor, and you can see down from the second floor, to the first floor. Next, there's a bedroom up there, and if it's just the floor, it would get really noisy. If someone's watching a movie down here, someone else is trying to sleep. And then third, running electrical is a problem if you don't have a chase. So I'm willing to sacrifice, around 3 inches, and then I'll be able to put some foam to soundproof it a little bit, and also have a cavity to do some recessed LED lights in these joist bays to light up this living room. So that's a lot of 2x3s required. The next big thing is up on the 3rd floor. So up here, we need to frame out a wall just like this with 2x3s right here. Thought about it for a bit, and I think we're just gonna make the wall flush with this last rafter here. So wall framed in underneath. Eventually I'll have to do a wall up there, but for now that's not critical for electrical. I just need to get that done before drywall. One more thing I forgot here in the living room. I think, because you can see this is all kind of weird because that's where the fireplace used to be, and there's like cement up there from old brick that was, to stop fire coming onto the wood floor. And it doesn't look great. So I'm going to Soffit all this out and bring it down kind of on the line of that header all the way over, show you the rendering for that. And then also, unfortunately, this bay, of course, is going to have to be covered because of the duct. So I'm going to use the old flooring and just cover it, and we'll lose that cavity. But I think that'll be fine. I'll show you the rendering and show you what that's going to look like. There's actually so much to consider here. And it's scary. The designer in me, it's always like, you never want to be pencils down. I'm always refining my ideas, and now's the point where things become real and I need to actually make decisions, and it's really hard. So here in the kitchen's another one. Let me show you. Of course, yesterday we framed out this soffit here, but just this morning I was in my 3D modeling program, and I had a different idea of doing I can't explain it. Pointing. Let me just show you the rendering. So basically the countertop would wrap up and kind of become a ceiling, and it's a little bit more expensive and complicated in detailing, but I really like the idea of like a floating plane and kind of encapsulating this whole kitchen area, and that plane with the joist kind of running up above that plane is kind of a motif that's mirrored over here with the ceiling that's suspended down. So let me know what you think of that idea. If I go with that idea, I need to just cut out this soffit that I just put in, but I think it could be pretty cool. Quick shout out to AEG Test. They sent me out this Hound 3699 radon detector, which is awesome because radon is one of those things that is just a back of mind worry, but I realistically probably wasn't going to do anything about it. If you're not aware, radon is a gas that comes up from the earth, and I guess it just depends on where in the earth your house is built on top of. Different pockets have more radon, and that gets released into your basement through your floor slab and then up into your living space. And I don't know, it gives you cancer, or maybe it just kills you. It's kind of a scary, like odorless, deadly gas. So I'm gonna hook this up in my basement and see what the readings are like, and hopefully not have any issues. One of the things I've been thinking is, like, when you buy a house from a family of people that have lived here for 30, 40 years, you would think, oh, radon must not be an issue because it seems like they're doing fine. But when you start to insulate a house and bring it up to modern standards, you're making the envelope a lot tighter. This house didn't have any insulation and was incredibly leaky, so all that radon could just escape. Now that things are getting sealed up, a radon issue that might have been kind of dormant because it had a way to vent might now become a problem. So hopefully this comes back negative. Otherwise, I'll have to install some type of like radon extraction system. But let's find out. This is a nifty, small little device that could potentially save lives. All right, final thing on the to-do list. We got a good amount of waste back here. Backyard's just a mess as always. And the concrete guy's coming in like an hour. So I think I'm gonna chip away at this, throw whatever I have here into the truck because I have to give my dad's truck back at the end of this week. So I wanna get some use out of it. And also I can swing by Home Depot after I dump all this stuff and get the 2x3s required. Also, remember that little radon detector thing? It's been going for like 30 minutes and so far, so good. We're below the dangerous level of radon. That's cool. Now we got some work to do. Oh look, it's the concrete guy.
So what is the plan?
So yeah, the main issue is just the water drainage. Currently the whole slab kind of slopes that way. All right, so we talked for a while about what needs to be done and all those details, but the important thing is...
You're probably looking at about 3,500.
Okay, yeah, that's reasonable. Well, we're almost finished up here. You know, I'm still very eager to do a lot of this myself, but as I start to come to reality of the timeline of this project and how much I have to do, I'm realizing how long it'll take. If I do every single thing, it's like, sure, I could maybe figure out this concrete for $1,000. It would take several weeks and probably would be not as good of an end product. Or I can just pay these guys to knock it out in a couple days and be on my way. I'm excited to get this drain installed and problems resolved. Good news, framers are back. They're working upstairs, wrapping things up. In the meantime, I'm gonna put these 2x3s up in the joist bays here, give a place to screw drywall, give a cavity for sound insulation and electrical. And of course I don't have my nail gun, but I think screws will do just fine. This is non-structural, just holding a little bit of drywall. This job sucks with a screw gun. And I might end up coming back and putting nails in here anyway. Yeah, just to hold it in place and get the pressure for the drill. And the first one, I put the drill bit into my finger. Next job I'm doing here is getting these longer Tapcon screws up into the header of my roof, connecting over into the masonry. Just so, you know, if you push this, it doesn't break the seal of the spray foam and cause issues, keep it all attached. So I'll probably do some at the top of the wall, some at the top of the header, and it's such a tight space. It's one of the more awkward jobs that I've done. I got a couple in before I put the roof on. It was a lot easier, but I didn't have the right length and it wasn't great. So here we are, crawling in here. Actually, you know what? This thing's so loud. So let's get earplugs. Ah, much better. Oh gosh. Oh. Man, that's the worst. That's a wrap on this week. Minor casualty on my finger. You just see a Band-Aid. It's not too bad. I think it's only the third little injury I've had, so not too bad. Yeah, we got a lot of miscellaneous stuff done. The framers did a lot of blocking. Blocking would be a nightmare after electrical's in, because if there's wire in the way of the block, it's harder than for the electrician to just drill into the block. You know, we're just trying to get everything wrapped up here. And we had to do a little surgery on the subfloor to get in blocks underneath stud packs, and that was something I was trying to do from underneath for the longest time, and it wasn't working. So I'm really glad we got that done. Taking up the subfloor, doing it, putting the subfloor back on wasn't that bad. Yeah, next week the plumbers are gonna dig up the street. They got the street closure permit, gonna get the waistline fixed, gonna get the basement dry, and then the week after that we're gonna get the concrete in the back. So things are shaping up. I'm kind of in this point of the renovation where it feels like it's never going to be finished. It's just like weeks of I don't know, I'm working every day and I just feel like I'm not making forward progress. You know, once we get past these inspections, I'm gonna feel like we're really moving again. So as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. Hey there, pretty cool that you made it all the way to the end of the video. Here we are. I just wanted to make a quick note. I am doing a little bit more on Patreon. I'm gonna upload the episodes a week early, because usually I have them ready because brands and sponsorships need time to review. So you can find early videos. And this week I also experimented with a cut that is just all my commentary for the edits each week. I cut out a lot of what I say, and oftentimes I'm thinking out loud. And if you're interested in some of that, we got a whole other 25-minute long video of me explaining things. So I appreciate your support there. And now we're actually going to end the video. So thanks, like and subscribe.